Marina, Marina, where are you? An elderly woman, tired, grasped her lower back and struggled to straighten up, groaning. It was becoming harder and harder for her to keep up with her restless granddaughter, who was growing into a real tomboy. At 5 years old, she deftly climbed trees, eagerly fought with boys her age, and then, having made up, led them into attack. But there seemed to be no girl's patience in her. I'm here, Granny. The granddaughter ran up and affectionately clung to the old woman, who stroked her tousled head and called her into the house. Come on, you little rascal, I picked some strawberries for you, poured some milk on them, you'll enjoy it. Alevtina looked at her grimy granddaughter with a heavy heart, who impatiently wiped her face with dirty hands and rushed to the table. Just wait, let me wash you myself. Under Alevtina's gentle palm, Marina's face shone and turned pink, and she was already gobbling up her favorite treat, cheerfully wielding a big spoon. Alevtina sighed. When 3 years ago Nina, Alevtina's daughter, brought her 1-year-old granddaughter and asked her to look after her for a few days, Alevtina had no idea it would stretch into years. It turned out Nina simply abandoned the girl, preferring to arrange her personal life elsewhere. Oh, you bitter sorrow, groaned Alevtina, wiping away the tears that had welled up. She felt so sorry for the little girl she had taught to walk and talk. She gave the girl all her love, all her care without reserve. But her heart was increasingly troubling her, and this worried the woman greatly. She feared that one morning she would not wake up and would greatly frighten the little girl. A big black car stopped at Alevtina's tiny house, and Alevtina, quickly wiping her apron and the tears that had come, stood up in surprise. Who could that be visiting us? Let's go and see. When she saw a tall man in a formal suit, her heart once again treacherously skipped a beat. Could it be that someone from the neighbors reported that Marina was growing up without a father and mother? And this stern-looking man had come from some institution. What do they call it, guardianship? A million thoughts raced through Alevtina's head as she stood and watched the man approach her along the path leading from the gate. And he came up and silently examined the stooped figure of the old woman, who clung to the girl in silent fear. The girl, bright-eyed, with a sharp and very curious little nose, was clearly lively and clever. Hello, he began, introducing himself in a soft, pleasant voice. My name is Victor. May I see Nina? Oh, Alevtina's heart lightened. So, he was not looking for Marina. But the man simply could not take his eyes off the girl. I'm Alevtina, her mother, but she doesn't live here. And this is her daughter? Yes. And you are, actually, who? I am this little one's father. As if the ground opened up beneath Alevtina. So, he was indeed here for Marina. Alevtina staggered, then flung open the door to the house. Come in, then. We shouldn't be talking out here. And I've just boiled the kettle. As Alevtina was pouring tea into cups, she asked, So, where did you meet Nina? Nowhere. I've never seen her. But how? Alevtina was completely bewildered. But you said. Yes, indeed. I told the truth, Alevtina. You'll understand everything now. You see, my wife Elena couldn't have children for a long time. We did everything we could, spent a lot of money and effort for her to be able to get pregnant. Eventually, it worked out, but Elena had twins, a girl and a boy. When the time came, the girl was born strong and healthy. But there were problems with the boy. Elena, she died in childbirth. Victor sighed heavily and fell silent. Finally, gathering his thoughts, he continued. At the same time, your daughter, Nina, was giving birth. And I found out about it with great difficulty, don't ask me what it cost me. Nina also had a daughter, right? So, the girls were mixed up in the maternity hospital. Apparently, while they were dealing with my son and wife, a switch occurred. How it happened, I don't know. Until the last few days, I had no idea about this. I just recently found out that my son needs serious surgery. And for that, a full sibling is necessary. Some cells are transplanted from one to the other. I was glad. He has a uterine sister. My boy will be saved. Imagine my surprise when I found out that all these years I was raising not my own daughter. But there was no time to hesitate or be amazed. I had to find my girl. I hired specialists, and they quickly figured out that Nina Petrovna was raising her. Or you. That's why I'm here. I'm ready to pay you for what you've done for the girl. But understand, I must take her back. Alevtina looked at Victor with wide eyes, then pointed him to the door. Leave. I won't allow you to harm my granddaughter. Not for anything. I don't need your money. I've lived my whole life without it and will continue to do so. You have no proof. And don't show up here again. Goodbye. Victor stood up. I could take this to court and cause a big stir, but that would take too long. I can't risk Ilya like that. I'll leave now, but think about what I've said. Here's my phone number. If anything, call me. There's nothing to think about. And I won't call. Victor looked at the stern face of the old woman and left. And she heavily sat down on a squeaky old stool. Granny, who was that? Marina twirled around her. And Alevtina silently pressed the curly head of her granddaughter to her lips and quietly buried herself in tears. A few days later, Nina arrived. Hello, Mommy. How are you guys doing? Oh, daughter, how big you've grown. Come to me, Marina. But the girl only glanced at this vulgarly made-up woman and clung to her grandmother. So, you've finally shown up? Did your conscience finally kick in? Isn't it too late? You waited until the girl was about to go to school. Oh, Mom, please, don't start. I've had enough of your moralizing since childhood. So, here's the deal, I'll stay with you tonight, and tomorrow Marina and I will leave. I've settled down well, I have a lot of money now, and she needs to go to kindergarten. In short, I'm freeing you from your duty. And what about me? Alevtina threw up her hands, and bitter tears flowed down the wrinkled cheeks of the old woman. I've gotten so used to her, maybe I can go with you. Mom, don't be ridiculous, my apartment isn't stretchy. Alevtina sighed heavily, then stayed up all night packing Marina's things. But in the morning, Nina didn't even look at the prepared bags and snapped at her mother. Have you gone mad? Where am I supposed to take all this junk? No need, I won't take anything. Is that the taxi? All right, kiss Grandma, Marina, and let's go. Wait. Alevtina threw up her hands. Wait, Nina, don't leave, just a moment. The old woman ran into the house. What, Grandma isn't coming with us? You said, you promised. Standing at the taxi, the girl stamped her feet and cried. But Nina slapped her and quickly pushed her into the back seat. She sat down next to her, and the car drove off. Alevtina ran out with a small plush bear in her hands, Marina's favorite toy, without which she could not sleep. Nina, Marina. Alevtina stretched out her hands with the toy as if she could catch up or stop the departing car. The old woman stood for a long time, swallowing tears and dust. And then, choked with sobs, she slowly went to the house, hunched not from old age, but from grief. A month passed. One day, Alevtina, cleaning the house, found a small orange piece of paper with a phone number and a name written on it. Victor. She had forgotten about him in her grief, but suddenly remembered and shuddered. How could she have denied a desperate father? What right did she have? She twirled the piece of paper in her hands and reached for the phone. Hello, Victor, hello, this is Alevtina. Please forgive me, Victor, I was wrong. Do you want me to give you my daughter's address? She took the girl to her place, and you can talk to her. Alevtina? Glad to hear from you. No, Marina lives with me, and everything is fine. Ilya is starting to recover. He's still under medical observation, but the surgery went brilliantly. How come Marina is with you? Why? Alevtina stammered in confusion. Well, didn't you know? Nina said you were aware. My people reached out to her and offered the same thing I offered you. She agreed, only she asked for twice the amount, but that's not important. She brought Marina the day after our conversation. We, by the way, have already become friends with the girl, and she even calls me dad. I didn't understand, so Nina took her own daughter from you and left Marina with you? No, what are you talking about? Aliona stayed with me too. Nina said that she wouldn't separate us, and I am very grateful to her for that. I'm now a father of many children, so to speak. It's hard, but fun. If only Ilya would recover. Sold? Nina sold Marina to you? How could she? Alevtina was about to utter a harsh word but didn't manage to before she started wheezing and collapsed on the floor, clutching the telephone receiver in her hands. Hello? 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 Alevtina? Hello? He listened, but the only response was incomprehensible wheezing. Then he hung up the phone and made another call. To the ambulance. Grandma. Grandma. Alevtina opened her eyes and at first saw only the white hospital walls. Then she felt a small hand stroking her arm, entwined with tubes. Grandma. Marina, my granddaughter. The old woman cried and wanted to get up. But a man's hand held her down, and she saw not only her granddaughter in front of her but also Victor. You? Is it you? Saved me. The man smiled gently. The doctors didn't allow us, but Marina and I still sneaked to you. I thought you'd feel better seeing her. Thank you. Thank you. A couple of weeks later, Alevtina was discharged. Victor and both granddaughters came to pick her up. You know what, said Victor. I invite you to stay with us. You'll need to be observed by a doctor for a while, and it's easier for me to take you to the clinic from here. So you'll stay, spend time with the granddaughters. And in a month Ilya will join us too. And I need your help. When I go to Ilya, I hire a nanny. But it's better if the girls are looked after by their own grandmother, right? Klavdia takes care of the cooking, cleaning and everything else by a maid from Tatiana. But they are part-time and you will always be at home. Do you agree? I agree. Alevtina sighed and patted Victor on the shoulder. One day Victor came home and immediately asked Alevtina to talk with him. You see, Aunt Alia, here's the thing. I even feel uncomfortable saying this, but Nina. What about Nina? The old woman perked up, her eyes flashing threateningly. Thanks to the care of the doctors and Victor's care, she felt great, even forgot about back pains. She decided to blackmail me, asking for money or saying that she'll take Aliona. Aliona? Really? Well. Victor, does she know I'm living with you? No, I haven't told her. That's good. Then invite her here, and I will deal with her myself. This is my trouble, and my problem too. I'm afraid for you, you shouldn't be worried. Don't worry, I'm as calm as ever. Nina, anticipating a big score, was walking down the path to Victor's house. She expected him to come out and hand her the money, but the door flung open, and her mother appeared on the doorstep. Taken aback, Nina stopped and froze, while the formidable old woman stepped towards her and slapped her across the face. Here's your money for Marina, here's for Aliona. Nina stepped back and retreated to the gate, while Alevtina kept lashing out at her with a suddenly strong hand. Get out, you wretch, said the mother. And don't you dare come near this house again. She slammed the gate shut and, with a sigh of relief, headed back to the house, where 3 grandchildren were already running towards her. 2 girls and a boy, remarkably similar to Marina and Ilya. Victor came out with them. How are you, Aunt Alevtina? Yes, everything's fine, Victor, all is well, dear. Let's go have some tea, Klavdia and I baked a pie today. It's called a kurnik. 12 happy years passed for this family. Victor, Marina, Ilya, and Aliona were returning from the cemetery. 9 days ago, their beloved grandmother Aleftina had passed away. Until the end, the old lady was on her feet, in sound mind, and full memory. And she died peacefully and quietly, as she had once hoped, in her sleep. The bereaved family visited her grave and was leaving when a beggar woman approached them with an outstretched hand. She mumbled something, then stepped back and walked away. The children paid her no attention, but Victor recognized her. It was Nina. The man shook his head and walked past. And she watched them for a long time as they left. They left.